It's a great day to talk hockey with Grant McKinney on HabsCast.
Welcome back to HabsCast on a beautiful Monday evening. I am your host, Grant McKinney. I'm so pleased to be that you're joining me today for what should be a heck of a show. I was kind of late to the party as far as uh, this NHL.com ranking the NHL centers, and the sixth best scorer in the NHL this past year was Nick Suzuki, who was also judged to be the best defensive forward. That's a pretty good combo, right? Top six in scoring, best defensive forward, and lo and behold, he's ranked ninth best center in the league. When is Nick Suzuki finally going to get his true due, right? Like even a couple of weeks ago, they're talking about, well, this All-Star game thing where they pick the best team uh, for Canada, like our best, NHL team. Well, Nick Suzuki probably won't be on that. Well, why wouldn't he be? Sixth best scorer in the league and the Selke Trophy winner? Is there would there be another example ever of somebody being top six in scoring and winning the Selke Trophy and not being considered for the NHL All-Star team? Like, and that's after you take away like teams for like it would be what, Sweden, Finland, whatever, blah blah, and then so all these other players too, and he's still not good enough for one of the 20 best players in the NHL. After like enough of this underrating Nick Suzuki, captain of a team that takes leads as a first line center his team to the Final Four. 100 cracks 100 points in scoring, sixth best in the league, wins the Selke Trophy, is considered to be the best defensive forward in the league while scoring 100 points. And he's the eighth best center or ninth best center in the league behind Austin Matthews. Austin Matthews. You know, I've had this song running through my head for the past hour since I saw that. Little Jethro Tull ditty called Living in the Past. Why is NHL.com living in the past here? Yes, 3 years ago, Austin Matthews scored 69 goals. That's neat. Well, it's not 3 years ago. It's now. Let's look at the stats for the last 2 years. Like, and this isn't just one year. Okay? Last 2 seasons. Nick Suzuki, 59 goals. Austin Matthews, 60 goals. Mr. Goal Scorer, one more goal than Nick Suzuki. Assists, 131 assists for Nick Suzuki, 71 for Austin Matthews. Points, 190 to 132. 58 points more, folks. Selke voting, final result, Nick Suzuki first. Austin Matthews, I don't know, worst? He certainly wasn't on the voting list. This reminds me of 3 years ago when NHL media in their infinite wisdom had him as a finalist for the Selke, which was a complete travesty. Again, that was a slight at Nick Suzuki. There's no way 2 years ago that Austin Matthews was a better defensive center than Nick Suzuki. He's never been a better defensive center than Nick Suzuki, but he was he was nominated as one of the finalists for. Oh, well, look at how many block shots he had. Well, whip-de frickin' do. Have the puck a little more often in your, you know, don't be in the situation where you got to block friggin' shots all the time. Like using that as the main, well, look at how many block shots Austin Matthews had. He must be great defensively. Yeah. And it always shines through in the playoffs, doesn't it? That great defensive play of Austin Matthews. You know, what was it? The big goal in that series there, the Four Nations thing or whatever. the big goal against in overtime. Who was the culprit? Oh, Austin Matthews. But he's better than Nick Suzuki. Give me a break. There's always got to be some Toronto centric slant to these votes, and got to appease, I guess, the big center of the universe market there. But anyway, that one just kind of look. It 2 years ago, fine. Austin Matthews won his friggin' Hart Trophy. He won the Maurice Richard. He got his due. He got every plaudit, and I didn't argue with it. He deserved it that year. That was then. This is now. Anyway, um, and hey, as soon as Marner's gone, what happened, right? Suddenly he can't hit the friggin' side of a barn. You've got one of the best playmakers in the league setting you up all the time. It may have had something to do with it, right? It was funny last year in the preseason, people saying, "Oh, Matt Michelli will be better for him than Marner was," because look at these stats here. I remember seeing a thread on it on Twitter, and Leaf fan came to the conclusion that, well, Austin Matthews scored more goals when uh, um, Marner was out of the lineup than when he wasn't in this 1 year. So this must mean, he'll score even more goals now that they got rid of that playoff bum Mitch Marner, right? Who then turns around this year and leads the NHL in playoff scoring. But anyway, just a little something that you know it doesn't mean anything. It's just a rank, it's just a list, but it just further proof that Nick Suzuki is just always going to be underrated, I guess. Other than, well, yeah, I wouldn't even voted him the best defensive forward this past year, but I sure as hell think he's one of the top 5 centers in the league right now. Like sixth in scoring in the NHL. Anyway, I think he's a solid two-way center. Do I think he's the best defensive center? Not sure. I mean, he's close. He's one of the better. I think Anthony Cirelli's probably the best, but anyway, it just he's right at the top. He's one of the best. He's certainly the best two-way center in the NHL right now. And Barkov might take that crown back with a full season, but Nick Suzuki, uh, captain of the Habs, takes him to the Final Four, 100-point season, solid defensively, wins the Selke, and he's the ninth best center. Not only do they not say he's the ninth best player in the league, he's at one position there's 8 guys better than him. The one, Sid Crosby, that'd be one guy that I'd still say, well, I get it. I get it, sort of, Sid being ahead of him, but right now he's not, right? Right now, Sid Crosby's not a better center than Nick Suzuki. And it shouldn't be rankings based on reputation or past. It should be today. Who's today is, are the best 20 centers in the National Hockey League. And for me, Nick Suzuki is top 5 right now. But it's all opinion. It's subjective, and you can make arguments one way or the other. I'm making my argument in favor of Nick Suzuki. All right, folks. Grant, consider the source. The man just doesn't get it. Sorry, I don't know who it was that did it. I just, like I say, I got wind of it later on. I didn't read the article. I mean, just seeing that alone was, that was plenty good for me. I didn't, if you know what I mean. I didn't need to actually click on it and support it. Good evening, Kenny. Hello, Drum Dude. And Billy D from Nova Scotia, Newfoundland. The people that rank these players have an agenda. Or they just aren't very good at making lists. That could be. A lot of people still think he's not a true 1C. Yeah, that's true. Hudson and Cole may also not be picked. Yeah, probably not. Who knows what that agenda is, but it could be just to pump up players south of the border by denigrating players like Nick. Yeah, is Matthew south of the border? I kind of have a line drawn right across about where Oshawa is. The same. No, I'm kidding. The same list had Hudson number 6, Dobson 10 on D. Matthews is overrated. All right, Rodrigue Cormier. Comment ça va? Marner propped up Matthews more than the other way around. Yeah. They're a bunch of locomotive breasts with snots running down their noses. Poor old sod. Yeah. Two more Jethro Tull songs jammed into one. Very clever of you, Tim. Nick and the boys will have the last laugh when they win 2 or 3 cups. I think so. And holy geez, hey! All of a sudden we've got just got to talk anti-Matthews, and the money comes rolling in. Mark with a toonie, thank you. Sheldon with a toonie, as always, thank you, sir. Kenny Pedro hit the like and subscribe member for 7 months now. Congrats, Kenny. Hey, Grant, was getting Suzuki's Bergeron's best move. Thank you for the 5. I guess I guess I need to answer that, eh? Good question, actually, and thanks, Kenny, for the toonie. So boom, 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 boom. Jeffrey O, thank you, folks, as always, for your keen support. And do me a favor and listen to what Kenny, a member for 5 months, has to say. Hit the like button and the subscribe button if you don't mind. It would be much appreciated. Yeah, it's hard not to look. Top 9 center in the league, right? And it's funny, was it not after he had already traded for him that he said the PlayStation thing about not being able to trade for top 2 centers, and it isn't PlayStation and it's impossible to do. And little did he know that he'd already made a deal for a top 2 center. I'm pretty sure it was after, wasn't it? Somebody might want to go back and look at that and verify that, but I think that Bergevin made that comment after he'd already traded for what would be a number 1 center, not only a top 2 center in Nick Suzuki. And if all the rumors are true, he actually wanted Cody Glass originally and settled for Nick Suzuki. So it just goes to show you just never know how things are going to go, right? And the same goes with the expansion draft. I had I put up a reel on Facebook. By the way, you can follow me on Facebook, Grant McKag, and HabsCast on Facebook. But I put a reel up and it kind of caught fire. I've got about 15,000 views about the expansion draft, and how the good teams like Montreal are going to be penalized, right? Well, one fella weighed in, and I think somebody did the night of the podcast here too, mentioning, well, you can always make deals, side deals, right? So that you don't lose certain players, and that's all fine and dandy, but who's to say that the players that you give away in side deals don't end up being pretty good? Because if we go back and we have a look at the Vegas draft, all right, Columbus, okay, they exposed Josh Anderson, Korpisalo, William Karlsson, protected Atkinson, Dubinsky, Foligno, Hartnell, Jenner, Sod, and Wenberg. All right. So Columbus basically said to McPhee, here are our first and second round pick. Take David Clarkson's contract, because if you remember, that one was what I think Toronto had signed him to a ridiculous deal, and he busted. And Columbus took on the contract, but then they turned around and so they gave that contract a first and a second, and told them don't draft on the condition that you don't draft Josh Anderson or Korpisalo. And so Vegas got a first, got a second. Yeah, they had to take on Clarkson's contract, but they had loads of cap space. They had to get to the floor anyway, and they drafted William Karlsson, who the following season scored 43 goals for them. All right, so that didn't work out so well going that route, you know. Minnesota Wild, what did they do? They gave up Alex Tuck. They gave Vegas Alex Tuck in exchange for Vegas agreeing to select Eric Haula rather than an exposed player. The big player Minnesota was trying to keep was Matt Dumba. Scandella was another attractive player exposed that Vegas could have taken, but I mean, who would you rather have today, Matt Dumba or Alex Tuck, right? And they got Eric Haula, who ended up being, fairly good too. Haula scored 29 goals for Vegas, by the way, in year one. And then Florida, they weren't. They deliberately used the 8 skater protection format so it could protect 4 defensemen: Ekblad, Yandel, Piszczek, and Petrovic. Imagine, eh? In hindsight, protecting Piszczek and Petrovic and Yandel. That left both Marchessault and Riley Smith exposed. So they gave them Riley Smith, and Vegas picked Marchessault. All Marchessault ended up doing in the future is winning a Calder Trophy, or I mean a Conn Smythe Trophy. So not too bad, right? You pick a guy in an expansion draft that wins a Conn Smythe for you. Could be worse. Anaheim. All right. They wanted to keep Josh Manson and Sami Vatanen, neither of whom are with the team anymore, of course. Vatanen long gone. But Bieksa had a no-move clause, so Anaheim had to protect him along with Fowler and Lindholm. That left Manson and Vatanen exposed, so Bob Murray made the deal that Vegas gets Shea Theodore and selects Clayton Stoner. So, again, would you rather have Sami Vatanen or Josh Manson or Shea Theodore, right? So careful what you wish for. Like, oh well, because regardless, Montreal, whether they make a trade or not, the player they're going to have good players exposed, because in 3 years' time, it's going to be inevitable, whether you make trades or not, to say, well, don't pick this guy. You don't know that the guy, you're going to have to give up good assets for them not to pick players. Well, who's to say that the player that they end up giving, if they go that route, doesn't end up being better than the player that they wanted to protect? I mean, Montreal presumably is, smarter than that. But look, Kent Hughes isn't infallible. He isn't perfect either, right? Like, he thought Kirby Dach would be a great NHL center by now. He thought he gave up 2 high draft picks for Alex Newhook. Maybe that's starting to work out, but early return on that. It was you may have overrated Newhook a bit too. A couple other decisions he's made that, in hindsight, when you're trying to predict who's going to be the best in the future, maybe weren't the the soundest decisions. So who's to say, right, that doing that kind of a side deal is just going to work out perfectly? Like, oh well, here we'll give you Alex Texier instead of you taking um uh I don't know, Oliver Kapanen or something like that, right? Well, the team's not going to go for that. The expansion team, unless I don't know, they hire who knows, Pierre Dorian as a GM or something along those lines. All right, let's get to a few more. Nick has well exceeded my hopes. Never saw him as a 100-point guy. Guess my vision was lacking. I knew he could be a point per game guy, but wow. Well, there you go. Suzuki is top 5. It was Pronman. He works for NHL.com too. Wow. He shouldn't be working, period. But I'd actually have Robert Thomas ahead of Matthews. I love Sid, but no question Nick should be higher. Um, yeah, I'd have quite a few ahead of Matthews right now. He's not a winner. And wasn't Suzuki not MG's first? Yeah. Berge should have done more trades like that Suzuki trade. And then, but there's an example, right? McPhee made all these great moves, but is he perfect too? No. He kept Cody Glass instead of Nick Suzuki. So nobody's perfect when it comes to judging young players, especially teenagers, on who's going to be better in the future. Hey, I had Cody Glass ranked ahead of Nick Suzuki in the draft. So, I mean, I had Nick Suzuki top 10. I had Robert Thomas top 10, but I had Glass ahead of them. Cody Glass in junior, he was his playmaking was just awesome. And at the NHL level, his skating just never improved enough to catch up with his brain. And he's an NHLer, but he certainly has not turned out as well as Bergevin thought he would, as well as McPhee thought he would, as well as I thought he would. And I don't know any scouts that I deal with that didn't have Cody Glass top 10 for sure that year. There were, he wasn't a perfect skater, but he just needs to get stronger. Well, sometimes it just doesn't happen. And Cody Glass, as it's turned out, is not, not near the player that Nick Suzuki is. So I think you can only be, personally, I can't gloss over the, oh yeah, and what a maroon, Bergevin ever stupid, McPhee ever stupid. Well, no, they thought, like the majority did at the time, that Cody Glass was going to be a better NHL player than Nick Suzuki, and it doesn't always turn out that way, right? You go back and look at top tens of drafts. There's always players picked higher after players picked, top 5, top 10 that end up being better. No, there's never been a perfect draft, right? Where the best player was number 1, second best was number 2, the third best was number 3. It's never close. It's never close. You get a few right, and typically the best players in a draft class are top 10 picks, but there's always exceptions. Right, Lane Hudson? All right. Berge should have done more trades like that Suzuki trade. Only problem is Berge wasn't lucky enough to just fall into trades like that more than once. Look, trades were not Bergevin's weak point. He Bergevin, if you go back over, if you put in one column all the players that that he traded for, and all the ones that he traded away, he ends up ahead, substantially ahead, in my opinion. He actually was a good trader for the most part, and of course, people will always remember the bad one, right? And there was one bad one, but there weren't. There was only one terrible trade, if I recall correctly, that Bergevin made, and we all remember that it was the Sergachev trade. But uh, partly I wasn't that upset about the trade at the time because I was I loved Jonathan Drouin Jr. I saw him the best CHL playoff performances back to back I'd ever seen with Jonathan Drouin, and he was really coming along, and had played in that hot prop, you know, what was it called? The hot prospects team ahead of Galchenyuk. Remember the kerfuffle that Habs fans made about that? And he was coming on and had a really good playoff for Tampa that year when they traded for him. But then turn around and try to make him a first line center. It was such a huge mistake. Development is as important as anything, and that was between picking the wrong coaches, not getting the right development system, wrong coaches on the farm team and on the big club, and a disconnect between who was picked, the scouts and the organization. Poor development. That's a recipe for a disaster. I don't care how many good trades you make, and that was ultimately, in my opinion, Bergevin's downfall. I give huge respect to Kent for not making a move for the sake of a move. There are some teams under pressure of the cap. I love our position for an imminent deal. Now sign Hurlbert. Glenn thinks Struvel's going to be traded. Maybe. I say Egstrom. These side deals is where Seattle made the mistake of not doing. Yeah, well, I think teams learn from their mistake, right? They were a lot less eager because the side deals had turned out to be worse than the players picked in a lot of instances. So teams remembered that, right? I mean, if Seattle had been first instead of Las Vegas, maybe they end up getting, right, all these great side deals. And I think you got to have two to tango. And I think the NHL teams, no, it's okay. You just take this guy. We're not going to give you side deals. And you know, it was because of Vegas's success from those side deals that I think most NHL teams kind of step back from doing that with Seattle. The higher you end up in the season, the worse it's going to hurt. Yeah. Uh, yeah, for sure. Um, Hello, guys. Yeah, Michigan on paper will be a top contender for the national championship. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Somebody saying it's stupid to complain about these lists. Well, look, it's a podcast, right? And it'd be stupid. You could say everything's stupid. Never complain about anything. Well, podcasts would be pretty freaking boring, right? If you never had anything to complain about. Easy for somebody in the friggin' cheap seats say, "Oh, stupid to, you know, don't have any topics, don't ruffle any feathers, just sit there and for 50 minutes." Hello, guys. Yeah, Michigan on paper will be a top contender for the national championships. Absolutely. I agree, Simon. Michigan State also has a hell of a team. Yes, let's get at it here. Main topic, Hage. All right. it is the dawning of the Hage of Michigan. Let's have a look here at their friggin' lineup. Okay, well, let's not. We will add this to stage. There we go. Here is Michigan's projected lineup, okay, for 2026-27. Horcoff, Hage, Perron as a first line, okay? Perron had wicked stats last year. Horcoff and Hage, of course, were a great combo. There's your first line. Perron, Horcoff, Hage. I think that's probably, arguably, the best first line in the NCAA. Okay, they brought in J.P. Hurlbert, who led the WHL in scoring. Jack Nesbitt, a top 15 pick. Malcolm Spence, another high pick. Your second line. Okay, thank you very much. Moldenhauer, who had 40 points in college. McKinney, second round pick. Valentini, third round pick, was he, or fourth? That's your third line. Shifsky, who had a great junior season. Dervin, who came over from Kingston. Sema, longtime OHLer, solid player. Aiden Park. Aiden Park had a fantastic year last year, and he might be the extra forward on that group. It's just unbelievable the depth that they've got. It's going to be, and then you get to the friggin' defense. The two guys they bring in will be their top pairing, as far as I'm concerned. Cam Reid and Landon DuPont. Thank you very much. Henry Muse is going to be back. He was tearing it up when he suffered his injury last year. Well, you got him on the second pairing. Who's not going to be on the power play? They almost have to have three, but then who's not on the power play up front? Like, it's crazy. They're going to have guys playing on the second power play unit that are, first power play unit on any other team in college. Robertson, Muse, second pairing. Barnett, Shock, and Rayo Mullen, who was a 17-minute-a-night defenseman, who will probably be the seventh friggin' defenseman this year because they're just so deep. Basically bringing in top three, their top three defensemen, bumps everybody down 3 spots. Like, killer depth. Like, Robertson averaged 20 minutes a game last year. Well, he'll be lucky to get 17 this year. Ivankovic and nets, of course. Canada's goalie at the friggin' U20s. Peck and Molinaro. Tony Molinaro. No, it's not Tony. Molinaro, Peck, Ivankovic, and nets. Folks, that lineup is awesome. And so, for me, it's one of the reasons why Hage, look, when Muse went down, they didn't really have a power play quarterback on the point. Well, this year they've got 3, and it'll likely be DuPont who is the quarterback. And I mean, come on, the expected first overall pick in the NHL draft, Hage and DuPont, that combination, like Hage runs things on the left flank, right along the wall. DuPont runs it from the point. Those two are going to be setting each other up, and like I could see DuPont getting like 20 secondary assists, and the same with Hage, and a lot of them on the power play. One will give it to the other who will make the great pass, bing bang boom, goal, and vice versa. Hage to DuPont, the great setup, goal. Horcoff had to be licking his chops, man. But you look at like a guy like William Horcoff, right? Will Horcoff. Like, Did anybody expect him to have that year he had last year? Well, you know why he did? Because he was freaking playing with Michael Hage, right? Full time. Like Horcoff had 4 goals, and then he played the development team, had 2 goals, while Whip-de-doo 4 goals the year before. Then they put him with full time with Hage. 25 goals he bursts out for last year. Well, we're going to look at the tape here, and you're going to see why. Why Horcoff had such a terrific breakout season last year. I mean, the kid's a good prospect, but don't get me wrong. But a lot of he better have sent a Christmas card to Mr. Hage. I'll put it that way, because he was a big reason for his success. All right, let's have a look at Hage's and I start with zone entries, because I think that's where you really get to see just how effective Michael Hage is in running an offense, especially on the power play too. Like that second unit. Look, Michael Hage is going to be a top 6 player for the Montreal Canadiens, and perhaps even at the end of this upcoming season. But what I think might be his biggest value, certainly even from day one, because I think he'll be able to do this even at the NHL level from the minute he steps in, and that is to, every team does that slingshot thing. You got to have somebody carrying the puck in. Well, him doing it instead of Alex Newhook is going to make a ton of difference, and you'll get a good read on why I say that when you see Hage's best zone entries. And I only did it for 2026. I mean, if I'd have gone back to the beginning of the year, I'd probably still be doing the video, getting clips, because he's got so many of them. I kept it to just the 2026 season. So from the about halfway point of the World Junior Tournament to the end of the season, his best breakout, his best zone entries. Let's have a look.
By Lamb. Now Shock plays it ahead. Rip the shot and the goal.
Look at all the space he has. Just waits there, right there. Goes right in between the.
I started with that because hey, what a friggin' shot, eh? I'm surprised he didn't score more goals last year, but in part it was because they didn't have that defenseman that could run things right and set him up as much. You watch this year his goal totals with DuPont and Reid and Muse for the full year. Watch Hage's goal totals this year. Let's get back to this.
Robertson, the defenseman. Here's Hage stopping.
Nice move.
Hage, shot, blocked, knocked down.
Down on the clock. Yeah, Michigan wants more, no doubt about it. Here's Hage going through. And he almost.
One thing you notice just in those first 4 clips, 4 different, stick handling through the middle, coming in, deking on the side, turning back. You'll notice in these like you can try to defend him, you can look at all the video you want, but Michael Hage is going to beat you in multiple different ways. It's very unpredictable because he's got just so many different moves, and it's all natural too. Like it's not like he's coming down. Okay, I'm going to do it. It's just think on the fly, right? React to how the other players are reacting, and make the right move in that instance on instinct. He's got great instincts, offensive instincts. You see the stick handling, you see the speed, you see the thinking, the edge work, the passing, the vision, it's all on display in these zone entries.
Hage, shot, blocked, knocked down.
Down on the clock. Yeah, Michigan wants more, no doubt about it. Here's Hage going through. And he almost had another. Right in the middle. Michael Hage. Little dipsy-do. Got it to Valentini. And Michigan will set up now after another face-off win in overtime. In front goes a third player out in the shape of Moldenauer. Here's Hayes. He's in. Moldy shoots. Oh! Wolverines with a 1-0 lead. Here's Hayes. In the shape of Moldenauer.
I got to show that one again, folks. The friggin' move, like the vision, right? The awareness to know where this guy is, and what a setup. Like, that should have been a gimme goal. Love this play.
Here's Hayes. He's in. Moldy shoots. Oh! Wolverines with a 1-0 lead here. 2 minutes in the second period. Here goes Hage trying to go to the net. He goes in front. So
That move that he makes, he does it time and time again. The power move in around the defenseman, such speed, and as he's gotten larger here, putting on size and strength, he's wait a couple more years, and even NHL defenders are going to have trouble stopping that power move. And he's got one of the best I've seen in recent times. It's basically unstoppable at times when if he's got a foot step on you and he leans in and goes to the net, you're done. Just about any NHL defenseman down the road won't be able to stop it. Certainly they can at the college level already. And he was just a sophomore. So, okay, let's get back to it here.
Michigan has 125 to work with the power play as Hayes cruises through the middle. A little pirouette. Back to Perron. Shot. Save. Boy, that looked like it went right off the mask of Mackay. Now the puck comes back to Perron.
Well, there's so many islands off the coast of BC. There's ferry terminals where all the ferries gather.
Oh, I wish
Here from Minnesota again.
Where all the ferries gather. Don't know what he was talking about there, but you know what? I really like. Kyle, this exact thought came to my head when I was putting this together. I see some Michael there too. Maybe a little smaller than Eichel, like a little, but not much. There are some comps there for sure. Jack Eichel, there is some similarities in their games. That's very, very keen of you to also notice that, and I agree 100%. There is some similarities in his game to Jack Eichel's. And yeah, if he can be 75% Jack Eichel, not a bad second line center, right? Behind the 9th best center in the league. Well, top 5 center in the league.
Back comes Michael Hage, the Montreal first rounder. Hage cuts in.
There's that move again. You'll notice in most of these, look, everyone's seen the scoring highlights, and I thought I'm going to get a bunch of plays where he doesn't score, but you see, most of you probably haven't seen these, right? But it clearly demonstrates, just like I said earlier, the different ways that he can beat you coming into the zone. I would not want to be a defenseman trying to defend this kid, because there's a lot of tricks in his toolkit, in his tool bag. All right, back to it here.
picked up by Hage, being hounded at there by Finley. Hage staying with it nicely. Now leading the rush for Michigan. Drops it off.
I think we all remember that one, from the World Juniors. What a the speed, right? And then that little inside out move and the backhand pass. Mint, as KK and Mete used to say.
Shade just put that one down the ice. Now here, right in front. Another face-off win in overtime. Through! And
with it nicely. Now leading the rush for Michigan. Drops it off.
Whoops, I backed her up a bit there. Sorry about that. Here, let's get back on track here.
13-2 in this period in favor of Minnesota. What a difference. Hage, though.
Look at that. Whoops, dipsy doodle. All right. What do you think of that? What a mishmash, eh? A little bit of everything. Breakaways, power moves, dipsy doodles, toe drags, the edge work to come into the zone, spin around, get it back to the defenseman, the vision to make great passes. Well, there's such a difference between him and Newhook carrying that puck in on the slingshot. He's just a lot more tricks there. Better, he's bigger, better puck skills, and the vision. He's got it. He's a playmaker, smart player. Before I get to his primary points, I also have here a second part to this. Let's have a look at poll that I did, and you can see this under my name, Grant McKag, on X. Not that many have voted for this one. Where will Michael Hage finish among NCAA scoring leaders this season? First overall, second to fifth, sixth to 10th, or outside the top 10? First overall, 13.6%. Second to fifth, 62%. So that'd be basically, most think he'll end up right where he did last year, somewhere between second and fifth. Sixth to 10th, 14.6%. More people actually think he'll dip in the scoring race this year rather than go up. And outside the top 10, 9.1%, which is almost as many as first overall, which I'm always surprised by these polls to a certain degree. Hey, Wittenbach's returned, and he was the top scorer last year, but with all due respect to Ethan Wittenbach, he doesn't have the the surrounding cast that Hage is going to have this year, and especially with DuPont there. Again, they didn't have a true offensive defenseman in the lineup last year, and this year they added Muse, they added Reid, and they added DuPont, who could be one of the two best offensive defensemen to come in the draft in the last 20 years. The other being Schaefer, that from a couple of years ago. But so I don't know. I think that Michael Hage will lead college. Health permitting, will lead NCAA in scoring this year. And it could be like Eichel, like a 10, 15 point spread between him and the next guy. I just think his assist totals this year, he might hit 50 or 60 assists in college this year. I really think so. But, at the very least, I think he's top 5 again. And, but it would not surprise me if he ends up being the scoring leader in college this year, wins the Hobie Baker. I think he's going to be dominant at the college level this year. Somebody mentioning work on faceoffs and defensive play. He made strides. He made major strides in both last year. The second half of the year, and bear in mind, this is a sophomore teenager. He was a teenager playing college hockey his second year. He was 50% on faceoffs at the college level. And this NCAA is one of the better faceoff leagues outside of the NHL. If you're a 50% guy at 19 in college, which he was in the second half of the year, that usually bodes pretty well for you in the future in the faceoff dot. I think people kind of concentrate a little too much on his early stats, his stats as a freshman, and I always come back to this. Look, young players are not typically good in faceoffs. It's the vets, it's the older guys that have been doing it for years, that know all the tricks. There's a lot of 22 to 25-year-olds playing center in college, and they're pretty good on faceoffs. And it's not easy to come in and be above 50% when you're a teenager playing college hockey. And the second half of last year, Hage in the second half of the season coming back, even at the World Juniors, remember at the start? And again, that's where a lot of people look, everybody watches the World Juniors, right? And I think Gord Miller, every second shift that Hage had there at the start of the tournament when his face-off percentage was so abysmal, would mention it. Gord has a tendency he likes to, when he has something, he likes to repeat it, and he must have repeated it 50 times. Oh, well, and Michael Hage's face-off percentage is he's won 2 out of 30 or whatever it was. It was very low. But as the tournament went on, and Gord never mentioned this because it was no longer, such a sad stat. Not that I'm saying he was trying to be purposely negative, just that it became less of a topic. Hage was fine in the faceoffs in the second, in the important games as the tournament went along. And then when he went back to college, he was a 50% man for the rest of the year. So, but even more so, because at the start of last year, I said he's a long ways away. I said, no, he's not going to come in and supplant Oliver Kapanen as a second line center. I was, as early on in the year, there were still people, right? Well, all year saying like Kapanen can't be the second line center. When Hage finishes up, he's going to step right in as a second line center. And I go, whoa, he's not near being ready defensively to play second line center. By the end of the year, I was less concerned about it. He really made major strides in his defensive game. I thought he was very good defensively at the World Juniors. I thought he was the best player at the World Junior tournament, and that's against your peers, and that's important because it's really the only really true place for you to, to gauge, to see how a player stacks up against his own age group. World Juniors is great for that. And Hage, to me, was the best all-round player at the World Juniors last year. And then returned to Michigan and was a lot. And again, even then I'm saying, okay, I want to see it in the important games because the previous year he kind of disappeared when the going got tough. Well, he was a lot more. He was a lot better defensively, a lot better on faceoffs. Um, Competed harder, was more physical in part because he was stronger, and I, I'm a lot more confident that that Hage is not that far off from being able to play center in the NHL, even if he does start his NHL career on the wing, because that's probably what will happen. Um, you don't see like how many players play college hockey, step into the lineup at the end of the year as a top two center on an NHL team. You know, I don't know how many you can go back through history. There's not too many. That's for damn sure. It's a big ask. All right, let's get back to the highlights here. These are notable primary points from Hage this season. And we'll just have to and where is it? Okay, I got to get to the starting point here. You know what? I'm just gonna let her go from here. If we go back over a couple of, that's fine. It's got a good shot, eh? Okay, I got to get it back to the. Okay.
A tady úplně volný McKenzie, jeho střela a je to 6.
Nice passing. Imagine with DuPont, we're going to see that a ton. He does have a good one-timer. Just didn't have the guys setting him up nearly as much. This pass to McKenna. I know McKenna gets the... But just look at this pass. Unbelievable. This next one will show. Yeah, it was just unbelievable. I love his burst. He comes back, and the Montreal's defensemen are going to love him because he provides such an intriguing target, right? When he's circling there, he's check out that. What a deke. He comes back, circles back, and he's just a great guy for the outlet pass because he gets open and he wheels it out of the. You get it to Hage on the fly, and he's gone. Look at that goal, eh? How do you stop? He's pretty powerful already. Wait till he's 22, folks. Gets another 5-10 pounds of muscle on there. Yikes. There's that one-timer again. I'm telling you, I could see 30 goals from him this year in college. Yeah, I know. Now I'm saying like 90 points. I don't think it's out of 80 points. Could see it. Look at the quick pass, eh? You see that one? He gets it at the side and then backhand over. That's what I say about Horcoff. It's like, thank you. Look at how he wheeled away from that guy. He's got so many ways to beat you. It's just there can be no predictability there at all. that one there, I just love. That's the vision. I'll back it up a little bit here. He wheels over and then he makes that pass so well. And again, that's just not on the left side. He does it. Look how he sprung that guy. Okay, beautiful. He's got a great touch on his passes too. Look at that. Again, the vision, right? Who thinks he's going to put it back there? Perfect. You see him go up the left side. You see him go up the right side. You see him go through the middle. Again, there's no predictability to this guy with the zone entries. Look at this pass. Vision, folks. Peripheral vision. And here, the old power move again. The skating. Yeah, I saw that one once before, but I had to have it in again. Beautiful, beautiful play. Look at that, eh? He makes it look easy. Sometimes. That was a feed and Perek. Whoops, I had the circle around the wrong guy there. I love this one. The little move, right there, and then feeds Martin. I just love that was an underrated pass for me. It shows his edges and smarts. He's good at that one too, where he just feeds it off the. I wish there was a better angle of this because I saw it right here. He tips the puck over to it was an amazing pass, and I wish there was a better because there was a replay that showed it. Look at that one, eh? The behind the back pass. We'll show this one once more here. Just Horcoff. How many gimme goals did Horcoff have this year because of Hage? Look at that too. That one's underrated. He sees the guy just bit. Horcoff again. Gets the puck in the corner, the bing bam. Here's that power move again. Horcoff. I don't know how many primary assists he had on Horcoff goals, but it was plenty. So, hey, going back over this and saying, I must really like Reinbarker a lot to have him ahead of him. He's a nice prospect. There's no doubt about it. Michael Hage is top six player all day in the NHL, I think. I really like the floor now and the ceiling. First line if it all comes together. Can't wait to see DuPont with Hage. Yeah. A lot of times achievements in junior don't translate to the same achievements in the NHL. Look at Joshua Waugh, Cody Glass, Drouin. Yeah. That's true. Ken Davey. Is this Winnipeg Ken Davey? Watch your show every day, but first time posting. Hey. Hadn't heard from you in a while, Ken. If it's the Winnipeg Ken Davey that got in touch with me a few months back. Glad to see. I didn't know if you'd been watching or not because I never saw you post in here. So I was thinking about you the other day, thinking, Ken, see what's, is he disgruntled about something or what's going on here? I never see him posting. So good. I'm glad to see that you're watching. You've been watching silently. Kelly, I love the trade tree. And Bergeron picked up Marco Scandella from Buffalo. Yeah, that was another good one, right? It what he managed to finagle out of Marco Scandella. Like he made a few deals like that, right? Like even the what was it? If you look at the what he gave up to get Edmondson, big part of them going to the Stanley Cup final, and then turns around and gets a lot more for him than what he gave up too. But Scandella, yeah, that was a really good example there, Kelly. Most of us are passionate fans, so yes, we will voice our views. Cam Reid with DuPont, fireworks, absolutely. Would love to hear about Capman off-season training as well as Rhino. Really think Rohrer would add a ton to our fourth line. Yeah, I agree. With his energy and work ethic, Rohrer and Rhino will be two awesome adds. Agree completely, Ken. I tried. Look, I had on Kapanen's scout agent, and he didn't mention too much, but I'm gonna get in touch with him again and see if I can get him on the podcast itself. He said that he rested up to start, and I think that was as important as anything. He needed to get rest, right? Maybe more than anything, get rested up for a year, because the year before he played in 3 different playoff leagues, and I don't know how often has a player played in 3 pro leagues in the playoffs in the past. It's not a very common occurrence. And then I think at the Worlds too, and then rookie camp, right? He was at the rookie tournament, then the exhibition games. He played a bunch. Like the guy did not have time off to really train last year, hardly at all. And played over 100 games for the first time in his. I think he just needed more than anything this offseason get rest. But yeah, I hope that he's built his stamina up some and he's ready for a big year. Who's the NHL comp to Hage? Jack Eichel. We already there's a bit of Eichel in there. Cam Reid might be better than DuPont this year. Surprised if National doesn't get him playing soon. Well, he's a couple years older, so he's probably supposed to be better, right? Top 21 pick. Yeah, they're both. That's why I got them. I didn't just mention DuPont, Mark, and thanks for posting. Where are you from, Mark, by the way? Yeah, Cam Reid's a great defenseman. It could be as many as 4 or 5 Wolverines jump to the NHL clubs when their season ends. Absolutely. Let's have a look here. You could see Horcoff jump, Hage, Spence might, although I doubt it. Reid. I think it's probably 3, maybe 4. But yeah, there could be a handful. That's for sure. Yeah, he's got a good shot. It's underrated. Wait till he gets playing with DuPont and Reid. And Muse can pass the puck too. So I believe the big reason Hage didn't sign was not being 100%. Imagine the pressure coming to Montreal playoff time, not being 100%. Well, he was nursing something, Ken. But I also think he kind of had wind, right? I bet you I wouldn't. Hey, if I'm a coach with Michigan and I've got a fair idea that, you're going to be getting Landon DuPont and Cam Reid and, Dervin and like the additions that they made, Dervin's a hell of a junior too. Sema, Dervin, Nesbitt, Hurlbert, right? Reid and DuPont. Like, if they even had a vague idea, and they did, that some of those guys were going to be coming, you know, and this is probably what, in April, March? Guess what? You're saying, hey, Horcoff's coming back, you know, Ivankovic's going to be in nets. Muse will be back from his injury. We're bringing in Nesbitt, Hurlbert, Reid, DuPont. Like, didn't get the job done last year, ranked top 2 all year, lost, right, in overtime, double overtime to Denver. Come back and let's finish the job this year. And I also, I have a feeling that there was a promise there made to the family, you know. Hey, he decided uh, when his father was alive to go the college route, and who's to say that there wasn't promises made at one, I'm going to get my college degree, and if that's the case, then I see there's no other bigger reason for why he went back for his third year. He's going to try to get a college degree. It's for a lot of families, it's an important thing. You can always there's always life after hockey too, right? So there's that possibility. But first and foremost, I think unfinished business and college. Man, college is fun. I don't know who all of you went to college or not, but I look back at my college years and I can't think of any other time in my life where I had more fun than in college. It was fantastic. Maybe he's got a girlfriend. Maybe he's courting a girl that needs another 6 months, another year, before they're ready for the commitment. And maybe he just met a girl last spring or something. And, he wanted to stay. Who knows? There could be a host of reasons other than, well, I didn't want to come up and play hurt. If he was hurt, he could have signed and not played, and he'd be getting his money. But there's also the fact that now he gets paid too, right? They can pay these guys now to stay in college as well. So there's lots of reasons potentially why he ended up staying in college. And I don't hold it against him whatsoever. He'll only come back. He'll only come when he joins Montreal at the end of this year, and he will. He'll only be more prepared and more ready, and he'll hope that he's got the national championship under his belt to go with it. Face-offs and defensive play, yeah, Ken, I did address that. I really love Hage, decisive and great vision, the best way to describe him. Yep. He skates like Eichel with his butt out, likes to drive the net, which I love. Yes, sir, Ken. We can't put that kind of pressure on the kid we were talking about in Elite C. Sure we can. I said, do you think Michael Hage is watching this podcast? And hey, nobody's saying he is the next Eichel. He reminds me of Eichel. Reminds me, Hage can also lay down a mean hit. Yeah, well, he's gotten stronger and he's meaner. Yeah. There is an edge to his game. Good point, Mark. Almost an all-star team of NCAA players. Yeah, I know. I think Hage's vision will improve without the mask they have to wear at the NCAA level. Improve. I don't know how much it can improve. Mark gifted one HabsCast membership. Oh, Leo, you got your own. You got your own. It's not just Le Cafe Entre Amis anymore. Thank you, Leo, for the $5. I appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Up in Montebello, by the way, folks. You go out to Montebello, go to his cafe, Leo's Cafe. I've heard nothing but good things about it. And Leo's a huge Habs fan. That's for sure. Thanks, Leo. He might be up to 210 now. Yeah, maybe. He's going to be 210. 6'2", 210. Big boy. He will probably score more one-timers from the half wall with DuPont on the point. Yeah, and Muse and Reid. All three of them are really good defensive quarterbacks. All three of them can pass. I think what will be important is what he ends up at near the end of the NCAA season. If he can stay at 205, yeah, 205 is perfect. He's somewhere in there, between 200 and 210 somewhere. Do you think Hage might get the Hobie Baker? I absolutely do. I think he can win the scoring title and win the Hobie Baker. Reminds me of Scheifele. Yeah, there's a bit of Scheifele there. The way he's leading the puck into the zone with power and fluidity. We'll see at the next level, I guess. I think he's a more powerful skater than Scheifele certainly was at that time, at that point in his career. The NCAA likes giving the Hobie to upperclassmen. Yeah, well, they also give it to juniors and sophomores if they have great years. Jack Eichel won it, didn't he? Finalist likely. Yeah. Bet you'd love to have Gordon in our chat here. What? Those 22 to 25-year-olds are typically way more mature physically, which helps in face-offs. Yes. Reiterating my point, so I can't disagree. Hit the same nail all night long. I still see Hage starting on the wing with Montreal. Probably. Hey there, Grant. I'm late. I was watching you and Rick from yesterday. Man, he's a great guest. Summer, it's so hard to be here every day. Yeah, Rick's a gem. We got really good numbers. Middle of summer, about 3,500 people tuned in to the podcast yesterday. We had a good one. We had a good show. Forget DuPont. Imagine Hage with either Hudson or Dobson. That's what we have to look forward to. Yeah, well, not forgetting DuPont for this year. 80 points, playing with DuPont. Yep. Can he pass the Dutchie on the left-hand side? He was definitely not 100% in the playoffs. His skating in the WJ was impressive. Oh, on the left-hand side, yes. Don't worry, Audio Murphy, I caught it. Give me the music, make me jump and shout. Yeah, I think he could hit 80 points this year. Can watch this guy all day, so good. How nice would it be to have Martin as well? I know, those two look great together. Going up against McKenna. Yep. Didn't Cappy's agent say he was playing a lot of golf to start his offseason? Yes. He started off playing golf because he needed to rest. Last thing he needed was him to be doing 3 hours on a bike the day after the friggin' season ended. I like that. That he, I hope he even had a golf cart for a month. Just rest up, young man. Get those batteries recharged, then start working on the other stuff. Yes, Winnipeg can. Didn't know how to post from my TV, which is where I watch now. I do it from my computer, and I can post. I'm so glad Hage waited. Stronger, better on face-offs, etc. Yeah, there you go. I'm smaller on the computer, which is probably a good thing, Ken. Great Hage clips. Well, thanks, Mark. Thanks kindly for sharing, Grant. Can't imagine Hughes ever trading Hage for anyone. Cappy is our best 2C option internally. Just view the video of his 22 goals. He's best until Hage. Agreed. And best probably for a little while, too. I would love to see Hage on the left side with Demidov and Kapanen. I think that line, I really look forward. I hope to see that line at some point because I think it could be dynamite. If Slav's not there, if Slav's not on that line, Hage could even, play on the top line down the line, like with Caulfield and Suzuki, keep Slav, Cappy, and Demidov together. However you want to work it, I like those six. I like those six as a top six going forward. Doc's in the mix too. If Doc comes back, has the big bounce back, maybe. Why are these things asked? Like, I address it all the time, Pac-Man. No, talked about it the other day. I gave them nothing but thanks for, no. Man's got to make a living. I wasn't making enough money. I started my own podcast. No hard feelings whatsoever. Those highlights I'm a bit behind makes it seem like college hockey is not very physical. Well, they weren't banging and crashing highlights. Great to see so much support for Grant and his channel. Go HabsCast, go. Go HabsCast, go. Finally found your channel. Always love your input and scouting knowledge. Thank you, Pac-Man. No, there's no hard feelings there with the Sick Network, Pac-Man. And I'm glad you found me here. That's pretty cool. Did you happen to see the reel that was on Facebook? It's funny, if you post a link, I've just discovered this. If you post a link to the YouTube in either Facebook or on X, they basically shelter it, hide it from people to a certain degree. I tried to reverse the other day. I put up some clips and didn't put up the link and put it in a reply, and the numbers just went all of a sudden. They didn't hide it anymore. It's funny, eh? Guess they don't want people going to other websites, I guess. But I did it for a clip on I did a minute clip that I put up on Facebook, and it's gotten like 17,000 views, 99% of them non-followers. So I'm going to start doing that more often, get some more exposure here. You got to learn the tricks to get around these guys, these trillionaires that don't want anyone else to make money. No league is as physical as the NHL or even the AHL. In my opinion, might be even more so than the NHL. Yep. Well, college is good hockey. A little more skating than hitting, perhaps. And some of the rinks, too, don't forget, are a little bigger, too, right? So, no, not as much hitting as the NHL or AHL, but tough enough and a fast league. Seems like we were talking about a blue line resembling that of the Habs. Does Michigan have enough D-grit That's a good point. They're not going to have a Robertson, Barnett, Shock are all competitive. It's not a big blue line, but it's so frickin' skilled that I don't know that that's going to really be too big of an issue for that club. And as pointed out, it's not like college is, completely rough and tumble, right? Scandella was good. So was the forgotten Mike Weaver. Yeah. The same Shifley that tried to decapitate Evans. That guy. Grant, what rookies, if any, do you like to make the team out of camp this year? Hey, Z. Fairly new fairly new name. Tell us where you're from, Z. Z847. Reinbacher's the best bet. I'd like to see him make the team. I'd like to see Beck make the team. Beck and Reinbacher. That's who I'd like to make the team to start the year. I don't think Jack is ready unless he had a very productive offseason and got faster, but quite a bit faster. For me, it'd be Beck and Reinbacher. Before Grant's podcast came on, I was watching highlights on Price's 2014-15 year. Itching for the season now. Yeah, I'll have to get some more highlights up by the sounds of things there, Mark. They do that because it would be so easy to spoof idiots to click nefarious links. Don't do it. I don't understand. Don't do what? I haven't seen it, but I find you in my recommended. Glad I did. Always good bet. Always good to bet on yourself. Thanks, man. Yeah, I've never lacked guts. I've always done things on my own. I became a newspaper publisher in my late 20s. Got into scouting in my late 30s. Started my own scouting website mid 40s, and founded a podcast early 60s. All right. Well, I guess I was 50 when I started the scouting website. But anyway, if you take Slavkovsky off the first, who was F1? F1? I'm not sure what you mean by F1. If you took Slavkovsky off, Hage is on the first line. I would love to see Lafreniere with the Habs. Great contract, signed long term with him and Nyes and Nyes or Marchenko. Cappy would be perfect as a second line center. I'd rather have Hage on the second line than Lafreniere myself, Ken. As Grant mentioned, I think Hage has the best shot of getting into the top six. Yeah, I do believe so, folks. Well, this has been pretty good. Let's get back here and see. 205 votes. Not a lot of people voting on this one, but first overall, it's now a tie between 6 to 10 and first overall, 14.6 each. 62% say that Hage will end up between second and fifth in college scoring. Hey, I get it. Wittenbach won the scoring title last year, and he's back this year. The Plant brothers likely back, Minnesota Duluth, but that Michigan team, man, loaded for bear. Again, he was top 3 in scoring last year without them having an offensive defenseman, and now they got 3. So, hey, we've seen how much getting an offensive defenseman helped Caulfield Suzuki, Slavkovsky's point totals, right? Well, we're going to see it. We're going to see it with Hage too. And he got 3. Just bing, bam, boom. Cam Reid's a great defenseman. Henry Muse is an offensive defenseman. Landon DuPont's going to be the first overall pick. So I think he wins the scoring title this year and the Hobie Baker. I don't know that there's a better forward in college hockey this year. Hage and Demi need to be on the same line. I can already see them cooking. Will be special. Can Rohrer play with Montreal at year end? Yeah, he can play Laval. He can play in Montreal. Rohrer signed a contract. He's on loan to Zug. He played in a tournament there, just ended up playing on the first line, centering the first line this year in Zug. So that's pretty cool. Last night, I watched Game 5 of the 93 finals. Kings were loaded with big names. Habs, small players like DiPietro and Dion were even better. The current roster juice might have similar odds. Yeah. Oh, the old game. That's not the one with the measured stick, eh? Game 5 was the last one. That turned that series. The Eric Desjardins hat trick. Game 5 was, of course, the final game. The Habs clinched the Stanley Cup in that game. Rohrer was loaned to his current team, so in theory he could join Montreal. Yes, and Laval. Z is a Montrealer living in PEI. Agreed, I think it's now time for Reinbacher. I mean F1, the guy that goes and retrieves the puck. Yeah. Yeah. So like after Hage puts it in the net, he jumps off the bench and goes retrieves the puck out of the net. Is that what you mean, Leo? Just going to check here quickly and see if there's any NHL news, late breaking news that came up. Check my feed here. Yeah, you look back at that expansion draft, and like I had said, they're careful with the what you wish for as far as protecting somebody and give away another player. Didn't work so well with teams giving away players to Vegas. Colorado says it expects to get Cale Makar extended before the season starts. Joe Sakic said talks are continuing with Makar eligible for UFA status after next season. Whew. You think any teams would send an offer sheet his way? Yeah. I don't imagine they want it to get to that point, right? Another quiet day. NHL, that's it. That's the big thing coming down the pipe right now. Not a hell of a lot. All quiet on the Eastern Front. Grant, what's your fave Habs season in the last 25 years? The Halak playoff, the Cup run, Koivu comeback from cancer illness are ones that come to mind. Robert Thomas for Jackeye. Yeah? You think that would make the news? Man, oh man. What's favorite? Joe, it's like you ask me what my favorite is, and then you name the 3. Like, what's there supposed to be left for me here? right? Favorite moment. Uri Slavkowski getting picked first overall was pretty was up there for me too. Obviously, Koivu coming back from cancer. I mean, I thought pancreatic cancer, usually when you hear that diagnosis, it's not good. It was harrowing, to say the least. So him coming back, yeah, it was fantastic. Beating the Leafs in 7 games after being down 3-1. Tough to top that, really. That's probably my favorite, you know, and then beating Vegas, of course, overtime. But JF, I know he was talking about forechecking, man. Like, I know you didn't have to mansplain to me. I was being facetious. So, like, what is he the F1 on every line? Like, it didn't really make sense, right? So, is one guy the F1 on every line? Like, I don't. Anyway, the question didn't make sense. Is there only going to be one F1 in the 4 lines, and he isn't on every line? Like, can you explain what you mean? Is Bolduc the F1? I know what F1 means, but it doesn't make sense. Big fan. Yeah, big fan. Thank you. Breaking news. Absolutely. Phew. I can see Slav being the first forward in on a line. I can see Hage being the first forward in if he's on the wing on a line. I can see Bolduc. I can see Anderson. I can see Beck if he's playing. I can see Jeff, what are you talking about? Anyway, there is a 1% survival rate on pancreatic cancer. Basically, it's good night, Irene. Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. What do you make of the 2 unsigned RFAs for Montreal, Grant? Not too much, Ken. Depends on the situation. Yeah. Guess what? If Demidov's the closest guy to the puck in the offensive zone, he'll be the F1. If if Bolduc's 100 feet behind him, he won't be the F1. Yep, exactly. Guys, I don't really know, I don't get what do you mean will Bolduc be the F1? Can you explain that to me, Leo? What do you make of the 2 unsigned RFAs? Well, the 2 unsigned RFAs, I make that they haven't been signed yet. Don't worry about it. There's guys every year that don't get signed right away. Doesn't mean much of anything. Do you think management is looking to trade those guys? No, I don't. I can't see them trading Bolduc. We just acquired him. I think they give him more room to grow. Yep. I started watching the Habs the season Buffalo retired. My favorite player was and still is Cournoyer. Alexei Cournoyer. Too many great Habs moments to rank them. The recent torch ceremonies were chilling. Yes, they were. And with a name like Beliveau, that's the year I started watching too, Mark. Beliveau's the year he retired. Kenny Dryden, Conn Smythe winner, beating the big bad Bruins. Yeah, Ken, I don't think that means that he's looking to trade him. You're just as well to sign a guy, trade him, as you are to not sign him and then trade him. I think people read too much into it. I mean, I'm not one to go down the clickbait thing and say, oh, do an episode and, speculate. Because that's all it is, complete speculation. Who knows, right? I don't know. He might be looking to trade them. He probably isn't. I don't think he is. I mean, I've mentioned it on here many times. I think Arber Xhekaj is a consummate seventh defenseman. He doesn't. The kid's character, man. He knows. Hey, he's happy to have a friggin' he's happy to be playing in the NHL as an undrafted OHLer, as an undrafted NHLer. He knows he's not better than Matheson, Gooley, and Struble not Struble, Hudson right now. Like, he doesn't rock the boat. He's great in the dressing room, character guy, funny guy, keeps things light. I don't want them to trade Xhekaj. I want them to keep him. And he's still improving. There's lots of defensemen that don't become regulars till they're late, till 25, 26, 27, 28 years of age. He's not done improving, Keep, who knows? 2 years from now, he could be a regular in the Habs lineup. He could be somewhere else. He could be in the minors. I don't know, but I think he's a great guy to have as your 6, 7, 8, like one of those things. Can come in the lineup, not hurt you. Can back you up physically, keep teams honest to a certain degree. Not going to cost you a lot to sign him, so I can't see them trading Bolduc. We just acquired him. Yeah, exactly. And they haven't signed him because they're keeping open options open. Ken, it could be a number of reasons. I think the main reason probably, Ken, is that they just haven't come to an agreement yet. It's probably as simple as that. I think Kent Hughes has been on vacation. That's what I think. And, he hasn't put down the Apple Jack and picked up the Apple phone. It's been, I mean, has the Habs done anything in the last couple of weeks? No. So Arber's a great team player. Absolutely. 100%. Hey, Grant, there's a lot of talk about Kreider on the trade block. Would you move picks and take a chance on him? Kreider. Well, there's 800 players in the NHL, or 700 and some, and you would have to ask me about the guy that ran Carey Price, eh? I don't know. Can you name another of the 730 players in the NHL? Perhaps. You got any other names? Frano makes a team. Who do you see as the bottom pair? Oh, it doesn't have to be. I don't know if you've noticed before, Joe, but the Canadians don't. They don't have three pairs that are play together all the time, right? I mean, everybody plays with everybody else all the time. So, I mean, Matheson or Gooley, right? Matheson or Gooley on the third pairing. I like Rhino playing with Hudson. Gooley with Dobson. And then your third pair, Matheson and Carrier till Matheson and Jackeye. Matheson and Struble. But that's not etched in stone. They've moved them around all the time, you know. No way. I was just watching those rewatching those highlights. There you go, Mark. No Kreider Montreal ever. Thank you. Yeah, it's just the wrong name, man. It's still too soon, okay? Ask me when Kreider's 55. Maybe I'll say yes. If he's still playing in the league when he's 55, maybe. Kreider still gets booed in Montreal. Doubt they would take him no matter what Anaheim wants back for him. Yeah. And another American. Maybe the same take it or leave it extension offer approach is used to extend Jake Evans, which built up until they signed. Just a thought. Well, we can speculate plenty on that, you know. I'd rather not just. I mean, contract negotiations are contract negotiations. You can speculate that it's 50 different things, and that's all it is speculation. I'd rather not worry about it. You know, I'd rather not. And again, we're talking about the seventh defenseman and, you know, I don't know, third, fourth line winger. Like, it's not the end of the world one way or the other. If it was Hudson and, you know, then yeah. Remember last year things dragged on with Hudson? Yeah, that made a little more don't touch me Camus. Okay, wrong chat. Ooh, I don't know if I want to know what chat. I don't know if I want to know what chat that was, Chris. All right, folks. Hour and 47 in here. I got caught up. Thank you everyone for your support as always. Please hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. We've had a few new people in here today. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Oh, Rick's putting up his top 20 tomorrow. And I've got a Makar Kanin highlights. When's the last time you had those, right? They're going up exclusively on Patreon tonight. So no better time to subscribe to Patreon than right now. Here is the address. To the Patreon. All you got to type in is patreon.com/c/the HabsCast. Mark will tell me that I don't need the C. Don't listen to him. C has to be in there. Look, you subscribe for $5 to Patreon right now. We're going to have a draw in a couple weeks. You will be eligible to win tickets to the last home game of the exhibition season. Montreal is hosting a game against the Senators. It's going to be a great game to see. Last chance to see, you know, some of the look. It'll still be a split squad, so there'll be some young players in there. You guys can scout them. Come on the podcast. Tell me what you think of them. Look, even if you can't make the game itself, that's okay. You can. These tickets are transferable. We're $280 a piece, $577 resale is the value of these tickets, which is amazing. So I'm just trying to find the yeah, here it is. Here's where the seats are. I sat here in the playoffs with Paul, who was so nice to he was so nice to invite me to a game in the Tampa series. Right there where that green dot is with the black in the middle, that's where the seats are. So it's right at the blue line, about 20, 25 seats up. It's the perfect sight line, absolutely perfect. You're far away from the glass, that there's no obstructions. You can see the whole ice. You're in the first level. Premium red seating, 124. It costs you $5 for a HabsCast Patreon subscription. Rick's gonna be putting his top 20. He's doing a write-ups on all of them. His top 20 prospect rankings are going to be up tomorrow, and as you have a lot of stuff on Patreon that I still have to get caught up on. Yeah, well, it's that's the other thing. You're going to get all of these, all of these prospect videos that I put up there exclusively, but also what you're going to get is all of the stuff that's archived. Like I've put up, I don't know how many videos in the past month. It's been crazy. What I'm also going to do, it's a very generous offer, Grant, to give those tickets, not just go yourself. Yeah. Yep. Well, hey, I want to build up the Patreon. Then the more people that subscribe, the more we can grow the Patreon, the HabsCast Patreon. We're talking about the same fan that gave Chera a standing ovation. If I win, I'll be gifting them to someone if I can't make it. Well, that's what you can do too. You can gift them to someone. You can transfer them. You can sell them. You can go yourself. So I'm going to do a video on Owen Beck that I'm going to put up on the Patreon. Another thing this year, and another reason why you should be subscribing to it, is here's the address again. I can do NHL videos, and I don't get flagged on Patreon. So I am going to be scouting NHL players. And what my next video is going to be is a scouting video on Owen Beck, his games last season with the Habs. I'm going to take a close look at just how he looked. I didn't do that last year. I'm going to scout him in the NHL and put up a video on Patreon, showing highlights, giving my opinions, my analysis, and letting people know if I think he's ready to step into the lineup this October, late September, and be in the opening lineup to start the season. So McKinney video going up tonight. Rick's top 20 prospects that are going to be exclusive to Patreon, going to be up tomorrow. And I'll be doing an Owen Beck in the NHL scouting video all up this week. And Jarosky's playing tomorrow. I'll be scouting that game, putting the highlights up on Patreon, and it's going to be that way all season long, folks. Zarosky videos, Pugachev videos, all of the prospects. I'm going to put videos up, scouting videos highlighting their most notable plays up on Patreon all season long, so you can keep tabs on all of the Habs prospects. Okay, Chris, did you get things straightened out there, buddy? I hope you got in touch with Camus, or didn't get in touch. All right. that's going to do it. One last time, there's the address to the Patreon site. Leo Lavalley is latest member. Leo, thank you, my friend. You just made a smart purchase, Leo. You're F1 in my book for doing that, my friend. Thank you so much. Favorite one? Is that what F1 stands for? Can I get an explanation from I think enough time passes, you take chances on guys to help your team. Yeah. Well, Mimo, look, I get it, but there's other guys who can help their team. I just don't think enough time's passed. I don't think it would be a smart idea. I don't know, Canadian's got a pretty tight dressing room too. And I'm not sure that Chris Kreider is the answer in that dressing room. I would pass. There's other options. I mean, not only, right, would it be, well, geez, we got to put up with having the guy that destroyed Montreal's, great chance at making the Cup final and maybe winning it that year. We also have to give up a fair amount of assets to do it. So it's a double whammy, right? I mean, if Chris Kreider was free, maybe, possibly, still 10% that I'd do it. But not only that, you got to freaking give up assets too. Less than a half of 1% of me says, yeah, okay, let's get Chris Kreider. I get it though, that type of player, a guy that'll go skates first into a goalie and knock him out of the playoffs. I get it, Montreal could maybe use a guy like that, but wait for Pugachev to do it. All right, I think I've said my piece. Leo, thanks for signing up here as a member. Hey, I keep pushing it there. The last two nights, Eduardo Vieira and Frederic Vachon signed up last night after the podcast, or just near the end, and then tonight Leo signed up. So I'm glad that people are, they get tired of my begging and end up signing up. I thank you. I thank you for that. It's appreciated. I don't think you'll be disappointed in the amount of coverage you got there. Oh, I also I'm going to be revamping my Patreon site. Apparently, I can do a bunch of changes, and it'll be a little more user friendly. I've got to spend a little bit of time doing that. So I will, for all of you folks that are Patreon members right now, there's even better stuff to come here. We're going to be getting some changes. Set up your new creator page. Yes, I'll be talking to ChatGPT, getting steered in the right direction. I got to say, I'm always a little late to the dance. Like, I remember CDs came out, and I still had my cassettes and my vinyl for, a few years before I started getting CDs. And the internet came out. Took me a couple of years before internet, then cell phones. Took me a little while, 2 or 3 years, you know. Now and now this. So yeah, I'm always a little late on technology, but once I get get into it, it's like, oh, okay, that's AI here. That this is really helpful if you use it in the right way. I've been saving a ton of time, graphics, research, and you go about it the right way. It's really helping. It's really helping to improve uh, HabsCast, and I'm glad that I am now utilizing AI and saving tons of hours that I otherwise would be using Googling and going down rabbit holes. I've always found that with Google too, right? You're Googling to do something, then you get off on a tangent somewhere, and all of a sudden, you're looking at stuff you didn't even the original topic. You end up you end up three tangents off on something else. So a lot of people your age are not open to learning new things in that quantity. No offense, man. My age, frick, I'm a young lad yet. I'm going to be doing podcasts for 20 years. Oh, actually, probably not. 10 years podcasts won't even exist. It'll be something else. 3D, Grant McKinney in 3D. HabsCast. All right, folks. Over the 2-hour mark, I think it best that we considering I'm a one-man show, hey? That's right. Producer, video maker, writer, no producers needed. No, that's right. I mean, I'm not smooth as silk, but I know I call myself a boomer, and I'm a cusp boomer on the cusp. The last year of the booming, I could say that I'm not, but technically they classify me as 64 last year, that you could be classified as a boomer. So I wear it proudly, boomer, and I like to think that I'm at least a progressive boomer to a certain degree, even if, as you say, Ken, little bit resistant to change sometimes. Okay, everyone, thank you so much as always. Once again, went a little off the little off topic, but it's because you guys steer me that way sometimes. Not much I can do about that. All right, have a great night, and we'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow night again, same time, same place. Bye for now.